Hi everyone. So today I'm going to go through some test hands with this deck. This is the list I'll be using. This is the list I uploaded. You can see the explanations for this in the other video on the channel. This is the one that the deck list I use for the regional. Um, what I'm going to do is this is a part one because it's like the simple way to do it, where I'm just going to play the hands for like the maximum efficiency. So I'll just go through, what I would do in every situation if I was if I'm thinking about playing around hand traps, but I'm not going to play it as if I've been hand trapped, because there's no point doing that, because I could be hand trapped by anything, like a million times over. So I'd rather just play as if I'm going to play as best I can. So I always like to start with instant fusion, because you're gonna if you open it, because you're gonna make it on your first fusion summon anyway, so you might as well just make it, make the kick Kalos straight away anyway, because otherwise you might waste it. So then in this situation, because I've got a tier to summon from my hand, which is the Happiness, because I'm going to use the Shimmer to pitch the Keldo, I'm just going to straight up add the counter trap. Then this means if I mill Scream, I can add the Sullic and still end on the two traps. So I'm going to use this. Then I'm going to use the kick Kalos effect. Um, then I've milled the Happiness, so I'm going to use Happiness. Just going to use this to keep track of how many names I've got. So I like to get Rukalos out early. Um, this obviously just checks for the first Bystial here, if they've got it. If they were going to Bystial let's say I'm in a situation where I've got Havnis and I'm going to make the Rukalos, and they got Bystial my Havnis. I'm just going to let that resolve and let them summon the Bystial and lose my Havnis. It is what it is at that point. But if they go for my Kit Kalos, I'm going to use a Shuffler, shuffle back my Kit Kalos. So, but I see what I see a lot of people doing is using the Shufflers to stop a Bystial. But the thing is that only works like when you're trying to push for game, or like you really need a player to go through, or it's like you only play or whatever. But in a situation where I can go Shirin pitch Keldor, and then obviously I can mill some more, and then I can make, like, like there's loads of different things I can make. Well, obviously I'm providing that I hit off the Shirin, but I think that's a worthwhile gamble to take, and I've got the talent so I can draw as well. But I genuinely try to stay away from using shufflers on the Bistids, because they just keep the Bistids in hand and just going to get them again next turn. So search the crime, made the Rukalos use Happiness. Then I'm going to go for this, and we've got a pretty good chance to hit here. You're always on a bit trying to work out, what you've got to hit. I can't hit any Havnesses because I've used Havness, but I've got 3 Merly I could use, and I've got 2 Shirin I could hit, so that's 5 and 31 with a Mill 3. It's not great, but it's decent. Um, so now, Mill 3. Uh, Hit the Shirin, so now I'm always keeping this middle zone free as well to my placing. I'm putting the Vukalos on the outside because I'm going to probably end on the Elf here, because I've got a Diviner in the grave. Um, I'm going to put the Elf here, and then that means my Rukalos are going to have the target protection by the Elf, and then if I summon something else here, like a Dweller or whatever, then I've got somewhere to summon that Dweller to, so it can't be targeted. So I'll use the Shirin now, and then let's have a think what we can make here. So what options have we got? We've got Grura or Mud Dragon, so it sort of depends. Do you want to make do you want to make the Mud Dragon for the target protection, or do we want to try and do some sort of Baron line? I'm going to try and go for a Baron line because I've got the Diviner. So put these back. Garura. We'll link these two to the elf, which I'm going to summon here, so we've got that nice target protection. Garura effect, draw one. Drew a Bystials, so that's... Oh, I've just cheated. I can't do this. I meant the dark, sorry. The dark first, and then I draw off the Garura, and then special summon the Magna because you're going to get its effect anyway. And I'll do that by removing... I think it's best to remove the Havness because if they pop the crime I can do it. Then I get the Magnamute in the end phase, and then I can link these two to the elf. I can use elf to bring back the diviner. I can use diviner here. Now this is a good thing to use diviner here because in mirror, when you're playing against their shufflers as well, you want to end on um, 4 shufflers in the grave because then they can't out all of your shufflers with 1 shuffler. So you want to end on like 2 Medora, 2 Keldo if you can. Obviously this is like a good situation, but this is why the diviner helps. And to be honest, with this hand, I think we've only milled the Shirin and Kit Carlos, I believe. So if I was playing, if it was a really good hand, I could have Scream, I could have Kit Carlos, I could have Merly, I could have Shirin. You have a lot of mills. So it's been a little bit shy on the mills this term. But yeah, I'll use the diviner to send. What is it we've got? We've got 2 Medora, yeah. So I'm just making my grave 2 Medora, 2 Keldor. Then a Synchro and a Baron. Then I've got then I can set their crime. Then it's end phase. Can add the Druid's Worm off the Magnamute, and then into their turn. Now I have obviously if it's the mirror, I've got 4 Shovelers and a Bystial and a Counter Trap and this. So if they start shuffling, if let's say I use a Medora and then they shuffle all these back, um, then I can chain the elf to bring back and set up another shuffler. I'll put them to the bottom, didn't I? But yeah, so basically, but what they should do is that's if they have to proactively engage with the shufflers and deal with them instantly. But if I don't if they don't have to do that, obviously they could do it on the elf target of diviner if they've got a shuffler. But I could use my shuffler to shuffle their shufflers, so I'm always resolving this diviner. Like I'm always resolving 2 shufflers because my setup was so good. So I've got the 2 shufflers, I've got the Omni, I've got the Rue Carlos, and I've got this as well. And if they don't deal with my shufflers, and I've still got my shufflers, I can diviner send Kelbeck instead because I have a Druid's Worm to stop one of their names, and I can trigger my own names, which are obviously insane. So yeah, this is the god board. I mean these here. I mean it's worked out pretty well because obviously the Garura drew Magnamute, which was absolutely insane because that helped me push into the elf. But there could have been a lot of other things where if I'd had a bit of better luck with the mills and I'd have hit the mill off the Merly, that would have been insane. But obviously I did start with Distribution, so this still was a really good hand. And this is why he ended on the god board. I'll just do one more. Won't have to explain as much stuff this time. Obviously I could just break. Oh no, good. Yeah, I'm glad this come up. So when you've got a hand like this, you could start with the planet. You could start with the Shirin. You could start with the Keldor. I don't play Gravekeeper's Trap, so I'm never really using Medora from hand. But the way you want to think about this is try to leave as many tier names in your deck when you're milling, and remove as many cards in your deck that aren't tiers when you're milling. So by that logic, I want to special summon this, Spider's card in this to get a Keldor out of the deck. Obviously Keldor can add Keldor, or you can add Kelbeck depending on what your match is. Then you can go Shirin, pitch this because I'm not using the Pearl Rhino yet because I want maximum names in deck. Okay, there we go. And now in this situation, if you had no other play other than to like play into the Bystials, because obviously I had normal summon Jet, so I can Pelourinho into Rhino, or I can Pelourinho into Melee if I want no summon Melee. But if I was playing around the Bystials, you'd have to use both here. But I don't have to, because even if this does get Bisted, I can still go into Redo it. I'm more talking about Bystials. I know I said I didn't really want to talk about hand traps, but I'm just talking about Bystials because they're the most popular ones, and everyone seems to be made like 100 of them. So yeah, we'll go into this. Again, I've got the thing that I want to summon, which is this Pelourinho. This Pelourinho is just going to get me Melee. You always wanted to get Melee anyway to give you the extra mills, but now it's even better to get Melee because obviously getting a Melee out of your deck takes a Melee out of your deck. So that's one less mill, but we've got Sprint out to easily accessible, so it's fine. Then use Pelourinho, add Melee. Obviously kick Callous Effect, and then Melee 1, Kit 2, and then we've got 1, 2, 3, 4. We've got Melee, then we've got Scream add Solok, make the Volk. Again, it's in one of the corners. I'm going to put the elf here this time. I shouldn't have summoned this Melee to this zone, to be honest. I probably should have summoned this Melee to the middle zone, but I'm going to use this to make the elf anyway, so it should free up the space. Then we still haven't used Sheeran. So what we could do here is we could overlay these two into Redo Redo effect, attach, banish itself, Sheeran, and Havness to Gruber. Link these two into Elf. Roll one. Then we have used Melee Mill, so we're going to bring back the Diviner. And then that's going to set us up with a Medora. Again, I'm not summoning it to the Elves when it's point 2 because I'd rather use the Elf to bring back the Melee to mill, and if I'm going to summon a Fusion, I want to Fusion summon it into an Elf zone. So then that'll send me the other Medora. So now I have again the 2 Keldor, the 2 Medora set up in Grave, and then this time I've just got everything. Say the planet, so I've got the Planet Pop, I've got the Melee Mill, I've got the Rulk Negate, I've got the Omni, I've got the Suit Poly, I've got, it's everything here. Got some shufflers, obviously remembering that shuffling back. So like basically worst case scenario, if I really want to resolve a tier, I could use Elf to get the Melee. Let's just pretend we don't mill anything good. So we'll just do that, and that. Then worst case scenario you can do is you can use only your own shuffle. Let's say they use something. You can use a shuffler, shuffle something they've got back, but then shuffle your own Havness back, and then your Pelourinho can pop your own Melee, and then your Melee Confusion by putting these two in a Drextapelia, or you could put these two, put the Drextapelia and the Magnemute into Mud Dragon if they're going to go kit, and then you can call Mud, and then they can't do anything. Or you could alternatively use the Rulk to to send your Melee to the grave to negate a specialman effect, and then that could turn something off for them, and then obviously you get the plus as well. So I know I went over pretty quickly, and a lot of this is pretty basic for a lot of people. I'll try to throw some high level things in there. This is just to give you a start off with the deck, and then I thought it was also good for people who maybe haven't played this deck, because then they can pick up how the deck should be how the deck should be played, and then get better reads on what they've got in the hand. Um, what I was planning to do for the next part are how to break the common boards and how to play through the common hand as best you can. Cheers for watching. Hope you enjoyed it.